So planning then, where do we start with that? Because I think that's where, like, a lot of people will almost skip that step and they'll jump forwards to like, right, I'm going to do this because I've seen it on Instagram, or I'm going to ride every day or whatever. And they don't necessarily put something on paper, like, or on digital format ahead of that. Like, talk us through that planning stage.
Yeah. So step one, that plan, I think, you know, maybe you don't stick to the plan, but at least it gives you a framework to work with, you know, going forwards. And for me, the plan has got to start with an appreciation of where you are now, which you talked about briefly at the start, where you haven't quite had the year you want. You've had some injuries and bits and bobs. And so start by doing a bit of a self-assessment effectively. And that can be putting down numbers on the watt bike or in the gym and the rowing machine or out on the trails, you know, Strava or timing or whatever, uphill or downhill. And really thinking a bit more objectively about what are my strengths and weaknesses here, and write it down. You know, I think that's really valuable to really define it, because, you know, I drove a few hours to get here and I put your address into Google Maps, but it doesn't give me directions until I put my starting point in. So we need to do that. Okay. And then that end destination, what does being a better rider mean to you? You know, to the people watching and listening, what does that mean? Is it race results? Is it riding your first red trail or your first black trail? Beating your mates? You know, what is better rider? Because then you've got the start of that journey and the end of that journey, although the end's always kind of moving, I would say.
The end never gets reached, does it?
Exactly,
quite,
yeah, because there's always the new destination.
For sure.
And that then is going to then inform you what you need to do to fill that gap.
Yeah.
You know, where are the gaps I need to fill in terms of strength, fitness, is it skill, all of that sort of thing, to make that happen, to be able to actually make a plan. And again, I'm a big fan of pen and paper, like old school, like write it down, but you can use a spreadsheet if you're into that sort of thing, or a training app or whatever you want. And then the next thing to do is this, as part of making a plan, is that time appreciation, or a time audit, you can call it.
Yeah.
And time is a thing, again and again, that we've talked about many times, and that people who message me on social media and questions I get are always about, I don't have much time, what can I do? So let's first of all understand, how much time can you make consistently to train? You know, like week in and week out, and then every few weeks or every month, can you carve out a bit more for a long ride on a weekend and stuff like that? And now it's a case of filling in those time slots with the things that we need to do from that first part of the process. So you've identified that actually you need to work on your strength, is one of the things where you feel like your strength on the bike is letting you down when you go to the bike park or when you go off on holiday in the summer with your mates. So, right, let's start plugging in 2 strength sessions a week, you know, and it's as simple as that. Build out that plan between now and the spring or whenever, and just, you know, it's not set in stone. It's just, all right, how can I consistently chip away between now and then?
Yeah, finding time is a big challenge for most people, though, I would say, especially like, you know, life's busy, irrespective of whether you've got family, but you add a family in the mix as well. That makes things even more complicated. Like, have you got any thoughts around, how you do that? I mean, obviously putting it in calendars is a really, really positive thing to do. You know, things tend to not get done or they get deprioritized, but like finding space is often a challenge.
There's the F word, finding time, which I always pick people up on, because, you know, it doesn't just land in your lap.
No, true.
You need to make it happen. And again, I hope the regular listeners don't think I'm a broken record here. Hopefully I'm just being consistent and reminding you of what's important, because time is the biggest issue for most people, and it doesn't just magically happen. You need to make time. And if you've already got a really busy schedule that stresses you out and you want to add in a training program, you're just adding to your busy schedule, and it generally doesn't work. You need to normally take something out first, which isn't easy. Or you need to move things around. You know, can you use flexi time? maybe sharing childcare if you're a parent. You know, you just need to be imaginative to make that consistent time, you know, that lets you go and train at lunchtime, because your boss says, oh, you can have an hour and a quarter at lunch, but you come in a quarter of an hour earlier in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, and that lets you train at lunchtime and have a shower and a snack. And straight away, 15 minutes at the start of your day really makes a big difference, your consistency and ability to train.
Yeah.
So we don't find it, you make it. You've just got to be proactive and sometimes have tricky conversations and things like that, and sacrifice things.
Yeah, and I think a lot of businesses are becoming more and more aware of the importance of employee health. And I think those conversations that 5 or 10 years ago would probably have been against a brick wall with a lot of bosses, maybe these days are a little bit more productive, and you have a better chance of getting a positive outcome of that shift of, right, I've got an hour 15 at lunch because I'm coming in 15 minutes early, so I can get out to a gym or whatever, or go for a run. Or
exactly. And then you can say to them, I will probably be more productive in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Because I've done some exercise, you know, and I've had my blood pumping. I'm going to be more alert after lunch.
Yeah, you've got to sell it, right?
Unless you've completely ended yourself and you're like slumped on your desk, like sweating on your keyboard or whatever. But yeah.
And it's about efficiencies, right? Like if you haven't got a gym near work, what can you do? Like it's pretty easy to stick a pair of trainers and some running kit in a bag and get out for half an hour and then empty the tank, sort of thing.
Yeah. You could do that, or hopefully find some outdoor space where you could do some body weight work. You just need to use your imagination a bit, really, and maximize the time you've got. Or you get up earlier and do some exercise first thing in the morning. And maybe people say, oh, I'm not a morning person or whatever, but actually you can adapt, you know, to a certain extent. And after the first week of it, or 2 weeks of it being a real strain, when that alarm goes off that half hour, 45 minutes earlier, actually, you know, if you go to bed at a consistent time as well, and you get in a good rhythm, then that starts to become a lot easier, and it just becomes a habit. And then you could be one of those annoying morning training people.
I'm not sure I'm going to be one of those in a hurry, but we'll find out.